Welcome to Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show!
Cool. Welcome to Wholesale Hotline number 116, where we are here with none other than Carlos Reyes. Carlos, what's up, man?
Brother.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Great to see you.
I haven't actually seen you in a while, so
it's been a while.
Refreshing.
Yeah.
Very refreshing.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
A little leaner.
Little leaner.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
75 hard.
Trying to catch up to you. What are you on? 4-year hard?
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
I pulled up a flyer of because you were one of the first guest speakers ever for Freedom, 2019.
Yep.
And you showed up in Jordans.
Yep.
And you had the same physique. So
Yeah.
you've been working out for quite some time.
Yep.
I was a little on the heavier side. I was what you call chunky but funky.
Okay.
Right.
Chunky but funky.
Chunky but funky. And yeah, no, it's been amazing to keep up with what you got going on, what Pace has got going on, what Jamil's going on, and then these beautiful, amazing people that have been supporting the cause for 116 episodes.
116 episodes in a row.
Would you
Incredible.
say I undermine this whole situation. Would you say that you're one of the top 5, top 10 real estate podcasts in the country right now?
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah. I mean, listen, over 100,000 downloads of Wholesale Hotline, over 200,000 downloads of Wholesaling Inc. And that's a month, and the audience is incredible. And then here, this live show has just been absolutely life-changing, because what happens, Carlos, is in the comments section, everybody becomes brave and they put in where they do business, right? And then other people are squatting up, they're connecting. All of a sudden, people are doing deals in the comments section every Monday.
I love what you guys are doing.
Isn't that crazy?
Brother, I got to see the magician at work a few weeks ago over in Vegas. Pace Morby.
Yeah.
There was about 2,000 some people, and I think like 80% of them were sub 2 people, and then like the other 10% were astro flipping people, and then the other 10% were like clever summit people. So it was. I'm gonna say this, man. Your tribe, Carlos. Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate you. Your tribe, sub 2's tribe, astro flipping's tribe. Everybody at that event, it's my kind of people. Yeah, it's really my kind of people.
The reason, the whole premise behind the show is this real estate business is 3 parts: lead generation, conversion of those leads into an agreement, and then exit strategy, right? The 3 parts. So we talk about lead generation, going out there and talking to people, whether you're talking to the homeowners, whether you're talking to other investors, whether you're talking to real estate agents, you got to go out and at some point you got to have a quality conversation with somebody that is or represents a distressed property owner. And so between the 3 of us, it's a nice piece, because Pace does just an incredible job of calling up any lead and getting them closed. Jamil is the master at getting these properties sold, sells more than anybody that we know, I think. And so the 3 of us, it's good time. But it's an honor to have you here talking high level stuff, because you have an incredible event coming up. Next week?
Next Friday and Saturday. We already have 1,200 seats. Pace. Thank you, by the way, everybody that's giving me love for the Clever Summit. As you guys know, I just pour my heart out everywhere I go. I really do. And I'm operating at the highest level that I've ever operated at. And
talk about that. Talk about what did you say at Clever?
You know,
just give us a piece.
My desire for everybody, as you know, and I think you share the same values, and so does Pace and Jamil. My desire for everybody is to accomplish their dreams, to live out, you know, this one life to their fullest potential, right? I feel like that's a big pain point for a lot of people in society today. They know that they're not operating at their maximum potential. And my desire for everybody is to, for me to help them, either, give them a little bit of courage, give them some hope, give them some faith, give them some direction, give them some clarity, so that they have absolutely no reasons, no excuses, no justifications in living out that life. Do
you think everybody wants that life, or do you think that
I think everybody in this wants that life.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that it's very unique. I think it's very interesting. Some of us are just born with certain brains. For real. There's certain, like when you were saying, living to that potential. Well, sure. Same. I mean, interchangeable. But there's that, we feel the potential. And when we're not living to that, we feel kind of like, oh, we're like beating ourselves up, or we're telling ourselves, you got to do more. You got to go out there. You got to make that extra call. You got to go on that extra appointment. You got to go and show up and connect with people that are strangers and are doing more than you, but be brave and have enough courage to go up and have a conversation with them, and then just start relationships.
Have you, you've been in, absolutely. You've been in this game long enough to know that what separates the massively successful people from the not massively successful people are the people that have the courage to, make themselves uncomfortable. I feel like that's a big thing for 99% of people today. Is everybody wants to be comfortable, right? Nobody wants to live in the gray area. Nobody wants to live with uncertainty, and I feel like you were probably at that point at one point, right? And so was I. And I want everybody that's watching this to know that every massively successful entrepreneur that I've ever met, 7, 8, 9-figure people, they bleed like us. They put their pants on, one leg at a time, right? And they go through the same scenarios and situations. They just have enough courage to keep going. Right. They have enough courage to keep going. And what is success? Because I know that everybody on this call, right? Everybody on the show wants success, ultimate success for what? For them, for their families, for the, to contribute to society in multiple ways. But what is success, right? Success, in my opinion, and from my experience, because I've done a lot of things that I was very unsuccessful at. I've done a lot, brother. I don't know if you've ever done this, but I rented out Swami, like Swami lots, like where you could set up shop and sell used clothing at the Swami on 40th Street in Washington, here in Phoenix, for $200 a weekend. And, I flipped cars, I flipped hats. I've worked with artists from like the Mexican regional section and all that. So I failed and I have failed and I have failed, but I never lost momentum. You know what I mean? And I believe that has a lot to do with the people that actually become successful. Is they fail and they fail and they go from failure to failure without losing that momentum. They don't give up. We don't give up.
So once you have that momentum, what do you think stops people? What pauses people? What influences come in that kind of slow down that momentum? Because we're not always sprinting as fast as we can. When I was young, I thought I was like doing so well and I was making 6 figures and I was out there, and then I went over my skis with expenses. I went over my skis with like trying to pull myself out of the business and work on it and not in it. And I wasn't there yet. I wasn't a real leader yet. I wasn't really polished enough as a real estate professional. I mean, what do you see as you're coaching a lot of people around the country, and even the experiences that you've had? Like, what slows down potential, and how do we help everybody here avoid that?
We can sit here and blame it on the lack of business acumen. Right? We could, like you said, you know what? I knew how to make money. I didn't know how to manage money. I didn't know how to reinvest money. We can sit here and really use those reasons. But the fact of the matter is, I truly do believe that the limitations of people are imposed by them. And a lot of that has to do with habits, environment, programming, right? So what happens, even if you get some type of burst, a lot of people go right back to that level that they were operating under before they got that burst, before they got that pump, right? They go back to hanging out with some of the old friends. They go back to not believing in themselves, even though they had that, that situation where they're like, man, I believe in myself, and they got the first deal, right? And then proof of concept, right? They go back to those old habits of not doing the things that make them uncomfortable, right? They did it once, they had enough courage, but then it's like, can they stay consistent? Because you and I both know that in business, consistency is huge. It plays a major role.
I think consistency. I also think sustainable. sustainable action, right? We have a lot of people that are starting this business and they're starting part-time.
No,
right?
No.
And then you get excited and you want to like put everything you can into it, and you're sprinting, and you feel like maybe you're not going anywhere, where maybe you're on a treadmill and then you stop. It has to be sustainable, and you have to be around people that are doing more than you.
You know, the absolutely proximity is key also, right? If you hang around with, I've been looking into this, and no disrespect to anybody that I went to high school with or anything like that, because I'm not here to take a crap on anybody, but I look at 95% of my old friends that I graduated with in high school. They still have the same friends.
Sure.
That's not a good thing.
Right.
They still have the same friends. They still have the same problems. You know, like like I will grow. I personally, because I purposely, intentionally try to grow as much as I can every single day. I will grow more in a week than some of my old friends grow in a year.
So how do people do that?
Well, again, they do the things that are difficult. They do the things that they don't want to do, right? I'll give you a very small example, but it's actually key to success. If someone were to ask me, hey, Carlos, you know, out of all the components, out of all the factors, what does it take? What is it going to take for me to become a huge success? Is it my vision? Do I got to have the vision to get there? Yeah, that plays a role. Is it my commitment? Of course that plays a role. Is it my work ethic? That plays a role. Is it the sacrifices that I have to make to get there? Is it, you know, perseverance, not giving up on myself, right? But as I can tell you this wholeheartedly from my years now, right, of building multiple companies, and getting to a certain level in my life, where now the next level in my life is I'm trying to reach 9 figures by the end of 2025. I'm going to say that it takes a good amount of discipline. He knows what I'm talking about. Discipline, because I feel that everything else will fall into place if you have the discipline. And that is what a lot of people are not willing to do. They're not. And you know why though? Because when they think of the word discipline, they think of handcuffs, and they think of responsibilities, and they think of a cage, right? But if I can tell you this from doing the 75 Hard program now on my several time now, right? And my brother-in-law doing it too. Discipline equals freedom. Discipline gives you more freedom, more time, more energy to show up for yourself and for everybody else. So the number one thing that I want to recommend to everybody out there is you got to develop the discipline. Justin says Carlos is 100% right. Guys, I speak from not like a book that I read, and I know my man has a lot of books. Right? Right, great book, Go Giver, right? But I speak from experience, because guess what? I was a very unorganized person. I was a very non-disciplined person, you know, and until I really started, it's like what got me here will not get me there, right? I had to have enough discipline to get to like a 6-figure level. And then I had to have more discipline to get to a 7-figure level. And then I had to have a lot of discipline to get to the 8-figure level. Well, how much more discipline am I going to have to get to the 9-figure level? How many people do you know in this country that actually reach the 9-figure level?
Not a lot.
How many people do you know in the world that reach the 9-figure level? Not too many.
Not a lot.
Not too. The 1% of the 1% of the 1%, right? But guess what? If I've already committed, to getting there, and I've already committed to what it's going to take to get there. So everybody out there that's listening, you know, there's no dabbling. There's no half in, half out. You know, that's one of our company's name, right? All in. Like you got to be all in. There's no, the way I saw it, brother, like I was willing to lay my life on the line to attain success. I was willing to lay my life on the line to become successful. Why? Because all my life, the pain of poverty, the pain of not having enough and not being enough, right? The pain, that pain was hard enough for me to be like, you know what? I'm gonna put myself on the line, and whatever pain comes there, it can't be any greater than this pain. And then I decided to just go all in on my life, and that's how we came up with All In. You know,
I love it.
Can I add something to that?
Oh, he's on the hot seat.
He's in the hot seat.
Hey,
You put me here, and
hey guys,
I can't just sit
for those
here
of you that
quietly.
don't know this man, he is the first ever Closer Olympics
winner.
2020 pandemic champion.
That's right.
Mr. Adrian, born closer Salgado.
There it is.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for the introduction. I just wanted to share quoting a book, right? Because I just read a book, Doing 75 Hard, called The One Thing. And a lot of people have the misconception that you need to go and find discipline to do certain things. Yeah. In reality, that's not the case. You have discipline. You just need to point it in the right direction, right? Because it takes some sort of discipline to Friday, after you get out of your 9 to 5, to stop at a grocery store, pick up that first 12-pack for the weekend, that makes sure you can have your alcohol all weekend long, right? It takes discipline for somebody to get on Netflix, find a new show to watch, and continue to watch that show until it's done. I personally have binge watched from 7 o'clock at night till like 4 o'clock in the morning in some cases on Netflix, right? But it's a matter of what you do with that discipline. Everybody has discipline. Just think of your daily activities of what you do, your weekend activities of what you do. If you have the discipline, you just need to focus it in the right direction. And that's when you'll start to see some massive change in your life.
I love it.
Boom.
I love it. And it depends, it's very hard to provide value to the community, to the world, if you're stuck in yourself just watching the Netflix or just drinking the beers. And listen, there's time for it. I get it. But if that's your whole life, like you're just working for those moments and not going out and creating the extra value out in the community, that's what we get paid for. That's where 9 figures. You have to figure out a way to come up with 9 figures worth of value.
I told him
that's it.
Yeah.
That is it.
If you're not using the weekends to create the life that you want to live instead of escaping the life that you currently live, then you're doing it wrong.
Right. We need Matt, we need to lower this bell, brother. We need a little bit of energy here for Heidi. Congratulations on your first deal, Heidi. Don't skip on this. Let us know what you made. Watch out, Carlos. It's coming behind you. Here we go.
Nice.
Holy smokes.
You shouldn't have given a warning.
Isn't that great? I know.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations, Heidi.
I didn't want to blow your ears out. There you go. Congratulations.
So now what though, right? Now what? Heidi just got her first deal. I remember when I got my first deal. Right. You remember? Everybody remembers their what? Their first deal. I couldn't tell you my 500th deal or my 1,000th deal, but I could tell you exactly the way my first deal went down. Yeah. So Heidi, what now? Right?
Yeah.
What now?
Keep it going. Well, you talked about it early, and I think a lot of people sleep on the idea of momentum. Momentum is everything. Momentum is that bodies in motion tend to stay in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. Like, what outside forces are you going to let slow down your momentum? And usually it's self-imposed things. Usually it's stuff that we're like, oh, okay, well, maybe I can slip on the discipline a little bit here and just kind of live my life and celebrate and do that. You know what I mean? And there's times for it, but there's also times where it's hustle season. And when you're just starting out and you're just getting your first deal, you're trying to replace your current income with this business, you are in hustle season and you should have fun with it. You can gamify this if you go and squat up with the right people that are in the same position or a little bit ahead of you, and you just have a lot of fun and bring a lot of energy to it.
Can I add something to that? So listen, for those of you that don't know me, right? Heidi, thank you. Woo, Heidi. For those of you that don't know me, Astro Flipping, Jamil, I love you. I love your scent. I do. I love his sense. He's a cologne connoisseur. Anyway, for those of you that don't know me, guys, it took me 6 months and 2,400 bandit signs. My brother-in-law clearly remembers when I was even willing to pay people to drive me around in a 2008 Nissan Rogue. The year was 2014, and my friends wouldn't even take $50 just to drive me around. Yeah. Well, no, I got my first deal in 2014, but I started late 2013. But
you've been doing this
6 months, brother.
9 years?
Yes.
And you're working on 9 figures.
That's
what I'm saying. I mean, this momentum.
So our forecast this year is $42 million as an organization, not real estate. Real estate, our goal is 10 million. But even if we don't reach our, by the way, we just hired a C-suite executive, Rico. He's a French guy he just helped the company. He helped the royal family in Dubai, United Emirates. He helped them exit at $150 million. This is our first ever C-suite executive hire.
Love it.
So now you know where we're headed. Everything in our organization is changing. And you know what? There's a lot of people that are having a tough time with that change. But Rico asked me, what is your ultimate desire? What is your ultimate goal? And I put it up on the board and I said 9-figure organization by the end of 2025.
Yeah.
He said, okay, well, we're going to have to change some things. And you know why? Because he has seen, so here, let me give you an example. Can I take this from you?
Do you want to write on this?
Yeah.
Do you want everybody to see it?
Yeah.
All right. Let me give you a page.
And this is a good learning experience for everybody that's watching, by the way. I freaking love every single one of you. 450 people.
Guys,
Amazing.
by the way, any deals that you have closed, any deals that you've locked up, we want to celebrate you. We want to ring the bell. Also, guys, we've got two of the most incredible wholesalers in the country here, business owners here. Let's ask some questions. Give us the questions, right? We've got a full 70 minutes worth of answering questions here, so make sure that you put in your questions, all right? By the way, guys, Pace and Jamil are in Boise, Idaho. They're going to try to jump on, but they're also speaking right now, so we'll see. So I hope that we can fill in those big shoes that they have.
So if you look at this board, right, Carlos has been here. Okay.
Yep.
This guy, my COO, right? If you take a look at that, he's already been way past that.
Yep.
So does he know a little more than I do? Has he seen more than I have?
Sure.
He's 50 years old, by the way.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Let me just say this. For the rest of my life, I want to hire people so they can tell me what to do.
Right.
He's leading we're about to have a real board. I don't know if I told you this. I didn't even know about this. Rico goes, hey, brother. I can't pronounce his full name. It's like Rigonachevich or something, but his name, we call him Rico.
Yeah.
But he goes, hey, brother, we right after Freedom, we have to start putting together a board of directors. And I was like, huh? Yeah, it has to be an odd number. And then we're going to have this amount of pages. And this guy is organizing our organization to be able to get to that 9-figure level even sooner than I expected. So I'm very excited about that.
Love it.
But what I'm saying is this, right? People like Brent, people like myself, people like Adrian, we already know, like Heidi just got her first deal. We've already seen the path after that first deal.
Yeah.
We've already seen the path. We know what it takes right after you get your first deal, right? We know what it takes. And I'll give you a very small example. When I got my first deal, okay, 6 months, 2,400 bandit signs. I could not afford direct mail. I could not afford, a demo could not afford PPC, right? And there wasn't much SMS going on back there or ringless voicemail, right? And cold calling wasn't really a thing either.
Right.
So it was like, if you were broke, you did bandit signs and door knocking.
That's it.
Right?
That's
and
it.
if you had some money, you did direct mail.
Right.
You remember this?
Yes.
Okay. So
I knocked 15,000 doors, bro. I mean, that's what I had to do. I couldn't get
why your arms.
I couldn't get a checking account. My credit was so bad. Like I had to go out into the streets, and there was not. That's essentially what led to TTP. Talking to people, like all this skip tracing and all that stuff.
That wasn't
came
really
out
around.
No,
right?
I brought it out in 2017. It just went bananas.
Yes.
So it's So now things are a little bit different.
So it's like,
gotta go.
So it's like, what do we do now? What does Heidi know? I said, what now? Right? I don't know how much money she made, and I wish we can bring her on so we can actually give her a quick little 60-day action plan or something, which I'm willing to do, by the way. But it's like, she just made some money. I don't know how much money she made, but I'll tell you what I did.
Yeah, I
made $5,000 on my first deal. To date, it's the smallest assignment I've ever had.
Yeah.
$5,000. My first deal, $5,000. But even with the $5,000 that I made, brother, because I had already worked for corporate America for 12 years, right? I looked at that $5,000 check, and I'm like, wow, I just got paid for my skills.
Yeah,
I just got paid for
it out of the ether.
I just created this out of thin air.
Yeah,
right.
Yep.
And then I go, it normally takes me. At this point, I'm not even thinking about the 2,400 bandit signs or the 6 months. It normally takes me a bare minimum of 30 days at my job to make this. And I was working about 60 to 70 hours a week. So that's about 260 to 280 hours a month to make $5,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. If you think about it, and I just made that in 2 conversations.
That's
The
it.
first one was a phone call. The second one was a meeting at Starbucks to get the contract signed.
Why did he sell or she sell? The seller.
She was a distressed landlord.
Yep.
She didn't want to deal
Tired
with
landlord.
she didn't want to deal with tenants anymore.
Mhm.
And
Heidi, all right.
99.
Nice.
That's more than I made on my first deal. So
Double.
you're
Yeah, double what you made.
you're in a great spot.
Yep.
So anyway, she was a tire landlord, and she spoke Spanish. And praise God that I spoke Spanish. We made the deal happen. I made $5K. What I did was I was so scared of marketing. Who
you sold it to?
Yeah, Brian Ponciano.
Really?
BP.
No.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
I sold BP my first ever deal.
Yeah.
Through Facebook, and I had to almost like hound him. He's like, I'm not buying that crap. It was Maryville south of the 10.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And he's like, I'm not touching that crap. And then guess who happened to have 2 flips on the same block on the same side?
Who?
Jared Vidalis.
Really?
So I said, no, Brian. I know that it doesn't look like much. He's like, you got that way too high, brother. The year was 2014, and I got a 3-bedroom, 1-bath for $91,000. Way too high.
Now it's
way too high. Now it's like 3 something, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, what I'm saying is this: what I did was I was so scared of marketing that I took $1,250 out of that deal, and I partnered up with Jesse Burrell, Danny Crowell, and Jared Vidalis, and they put $1,250, and we set out a marketing campaign of $2,500 worth of 5,000 letters.
Yeah.
We made $60,000.
Yeah.
Right. And then I was
on
still
one deal
scared.
or more?
No, it was 3 deals.
Okay.
And I was still scared. And we're like, hey, wow, that was amazing. I'm like, let's do it again. Right. We did it again. We made $30,000. So now I made $95,000 in a period of 45 to 60 days. Right. But imagine this, Heidi. You just made $9,900 and some dollars or whatever. But guess what? I was so scared to reinvest into marketing that partnering up with somebody, there's pros and cons. Partnering up with somebody cost me.
Yeah.
It cost me $30 and $15, $45,000 because I was too scared to just dump that money back into marketing myself.
Right. You didn't want to take all the risk.
I didn't want to live in the uncertainty. I didn't want to be uncomfortable.
Right.
I was hanging on to every dollar like this.
Seems like you changed your mind on that though.
And I saw marketing as an expense, not as an investment.
Right.
So for everybody out there that's listening, I want you guys to change that paradigm, right? Shift that mindset to, oh man, marketing is an expense. Oh my God. No. Marketing is an investment, right? No leads, no conversations, no offers, no deals.
No deals, no money, no
so
return.
For those of you out there that have,
look at Logan.
What happened?
Look at Logan.
What's going on?
Look at this. Got paid $30,000 on his first deal today.
Whoa.
Yep. No, you didn't ring this one. Yeah. Yes. So Logan, congratulations. Woo! Squad up. Let everybody know what city you're in, Logan. Let everybody know where you're doing business. Squad up. That is excellent.
Nick, by the way, that 25%, that's a really good percentage of your gross profits to dump back into marketing. And you want to be between 20 to 25%. So that's very healthy, by the way, for a company that's really trying to grow. Right. So anyway, I believe, man, like I don't understand how a lot of people in this business actually don't become massively successful, but I believe that it is them. Like their limitations are imposed by them, because again, I'm an immigrant from Mexico. You're an immigrant from Serbia, or I don't know where you're from. I'm joking. Right?
I don't know where I'm from. No.
Right. I'm an immigrant from Mexico, no college education. And here we are. Here we are. So chasing 9 figures.
That's it.
Yep.
I love it. Well, it's really interesting. And the other, I think that there's a couple different milestones that I talk about when I'm coaching. And the first one is getting your first deal. That's great. The second one, not really, but it's a huge one, is the one that breaks your brain. That's that deal that you close and you personally take home over $50,000 in one deal. That breaks your brain forever. Then all of a sudden you're like, $50,000. This is what my parents made all last year. This is what, $50,000 is the most money I've ever seen. I'm like the richest person alive, right? Mm-hmm. That's the feeling that you have. And then you build that confidence and you really start like believing that you can do these amazing things and get to $1 million business and then a $10 million business and then on and on and on. But that first $50,000 really breaks your brain, in my opinion. Do you remember your first one? Remember your first big deal that closed?
I remember. So yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
I remember. Well, here I got 2 huge milestones. One was in 2016.
Yep.
We sold a package, right, of 27 properties.
I remember this.
We made $250,000.
Yes.
Guys, you want to talk about
what? You were sitting courtside at the Lakers the next day.
Was I? I probably was. Maybe. No.
You probably were. I wouldn't doubt that. That sounds like
maybe. I don't remember, right? But I'll say this. Talk about putting $100,000 in non-refundable earnest money deposit.
Yeah.
That is real pressure.
That's pressure.
That is real pressure.
Yeah.
For everybody out there that's putting a few thousand or a few hundred, imagine putting $100,000 on a deal that you don't even know if you're going to be able to assign.
Right.
27 properties. You're like, all right, guys, well, we have 30 days to move this or we're losing 100,000.
Yeah.
And I think I sold it to 2 different people.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm telling you, man, you want to talk about pressure. See, everybody confuses stress for pressure.
Sure.
And that's what I told my daughter today, and even actually my admin director today, because she was like, "Oh my God, this is my first big event. There's 1,000 people coming in, and right? Remember?" And I said, "Hey, relax."
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I said, "Hey, you're not stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just pressure."
Yep.
So pressure's good.
Yeah.
I said, "You're putting together the event. I have to host the event. I have so many moving parts."
Mm-hmm.
From the speakers coming in to the people we have to serve, right? So many moving parts. You don't think that I have pressure, but guess what? People like you, people like myself, people like Adrian, we start to build this pressure muscle, right? Sure. That we can take on more pressure and more pressure and more pressure and more pressure. I'll give you an example, right? I don't know if there was 2,000 people at Clever Summit. I don't know if there was 2,500 people at Clever Summit, but I'll tell you what, when I went out there on that stage, I felt zero nervousness. Right? Zero nervousness. First of all, I always pray right before I go on stage, and then I just say, "Hey, Lord, do your thing."
Yeah.
Right? It's not even me at this point, it's you, right? Yeah. But as soon as I got done doing my, 15 to 20 minute set, because they had a lot of speakers, right?
Yeah.
You can ask anybody, I did my 15 to 20 minute set, and I'm like, "Okay, Father, well, I'm ready to speak to 10,000 or 15,000. You see, but that's what guys, it doesn't happen like overnight. Like you slowly, gradually build that muscle or that tolerance for pressure and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And risk.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I had a great mentor, and he put it like, you start out and you're just a seed and you're like in a little styrofoam cup, and you can grow as big as that cup is. At some point, you got to put yourself into a new pot. And then you have to put yourself into a bigger pot, so that you can keep growing and growing and growing and growing. And it takes time for everything, all of your experience and all of your confidence and all of your discipline to be able to grow the roots that you need to be able to grow as big as you want to grow. And it's just, he called it repotting yourself. Every so often you have to repot yourself because of the growth. It never stops.
I love it.
Yep.
Well, something that I always used to live by, even when I was in corporate America, I was constantly trying to prepare myself. Constantly, even like an athlete. For those of you that who's read Relentless by Tim Grover, by the way. Yeah. At first I wasn't a big fan because I'm like, man, why am I reading this? And then I was like, okay, this was worth the read. Yeah. Towards like the middle and the end, I'm like, okay, this was worth the read. It was good.
Exactly what you're talking about.
Right. At first I'm like, what's going on here? Right. But he talks about, opportunity plus preparation equals success. Right?
Yep.
Opportunity plus preparation equals success. So if you stay prepared, and I want you to say what God has spoken to you right after this. If you stay prepared, which a lot of people hear, what are they doing right now? They are preparing.
Yeah.
Right? By watching this, this isn't entertainment. This is not entertainment. You and me, even though we look like a couple Chippendales from Vegas,
for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? We take our shirts off right now. I haven't had a slice of pizza since February of 2021.
Jeez, look at this guy. I'll tell you what.
Anyway, listen.
Get the
what I'm trying to say is this.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is this. this is not entertainment. This is this is attainment for people.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
This is
instruction.
attainment.
Yeah.
Right. This is good. You are preparing yourself. So when that opportunity comes, whether it comes in the form of a seller, right, prepared, ready to sell a deal, right, whether it comes in the form of a partner, right, that is what you would call an opportunity. Well, you've been preparing. The opportunity comes. Boom, success is created.
You're ready to go.
And Adrian, what's that one thing that you always saying?
I always say, well, like from experience, right? I joined these guys probably 4 years after they already started.
Yeah.
And me and Carlos are brother-in-law, so I watched his journey. I used to bring him markers to write on the
for sure
on the bandit signs, right?
Yeah,
And at the time, I was complacent. I was where I was at, driving semis for 10 years, didn't have to worry about a thing. I was living well.
You thought I was crazy. My whole
I still think you're crazy.
Our whole family
but
thought I was crazy.
I agree with it. I still think you're crazy, by the way. But what I always say now is like, don't get caught in the right place with the wrong mindset.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the ultimate
Preach,
saying that
baby.
I
Is it
live
Sunday?
by now, because I was at the right place. I could have started 4 years earlier.
Yeah.
Right. But my mindset was just complacent. I was okay with what I was already doing.
He watched me build this thing from the ground up with Sal.
Yeah.
And I would come home with different things, and everybody thought I was crazy. I think at some point, some of my wife's aunts thought I was doing illegal things. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Is that legal? Right?
Oh, yeah.
You're going to get arrested.
Yeah, like,
outs. I remember those.
Making
Right?
too much money.
Like, what? Like, I'm telling you, my whole family was just seeing me hustle. And yeah, I'm a little bit of crazy. I'm one of those dudes. I would say, like, I like to push the boundary, right? Like, I'll give you an example. A month and a half ago, 2 months ago, right? What did I say? What did I say about freedom? I want to have, what did I say?
1,000 people.
I want to have 1,000 people at freedom.
Right.
2 months ago.
Yeah.
People are like, you're crazy. 500's fine.
Yeah. It's a big event.
I'm going to have Ed Milet at freedom. You're crazy.
Yeah.
You're not getting Ed Milet.
Yeah.
I want to have Brad Lee at freedom. What? You already got Ed Milet. You think you can? I want to have Emily Frisella. And Andy might come. People thought I was crazy.
Right.
People always think I'm crazy because I'm willing to push those boundaries.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
You always have.
And I've been
always have.
Thank you, brother.
You
And
always have, and you go with it, and you're gonna go.
I believe in it, even if it doesn't happen. Like, I'm just one of those dudes. Yeah, I just believe in it. Right? I believe in myself. You know. And here we are at 1,200 seats, and praise God, because I'm not even going to take credit for that. For me, it wasn't even about my ego or my pride. Right? You can ask my brother-in-law, because we had a 40-minute amazing conversation last night. Yeah. Amazing conversation. Our conversations now are so high level, on a conscious level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it was like, okay, we're reaching a milestone. I want to have 2,000 people next year. You see?
Yep.
Right? Right? I want to reach 9-figure. I told Sal, remember when at first I was like, oh yeah, bro, 100 million by the end of 2025. Where are we at? Right? Mm-hmm. I said that.
Yep.
By the end of 2025, I want our organization to produce $100 million within those 3 years. 2022, 2023, sorry, by the end of 2023, not 2025. 2022, what's today? Are we in 2022 right now?
Yep.
I'm crazy. 20.
Yeah, we've
all right,
acknowledged that already.
All right, ready?
We've all acknowledged that.
2021, 2022,
Yeah.
2023. By the end of that year, I want to have gross profit, gross income, generated revenue, $100 million. And at first,
across all your businesses,
across all my businesses.
How many businesses?
Well, there's like 31, but hold on. We're going to concentrate on real estate, software, call geeks, e-com, and there's one more. Oh, all in education. Yeah. So yeah, across 5 major sectors.
Got it.
Right. Mm-hmm. So yes. Did Sal think I was a little crazy when I prophesized that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the beginning. Guess what he's saying now?
Yeah,
he's like, oh, hey, bro, we're forecasted to be at 42, and we might get to 30 for sure. So there's a strong possibility that, brother, if we get to 78 or 85, you know, I mean, is anybody going to really be upset?
I don't. Well, maybe you.
I won't.
Maybe you.
I'll be okay. Because I know we're eventually getting right. But that's you have to do that. You have to do that. Like, you have to be willing to push your own limitations.
It starts with just getting the first $5,000 check and then building from there. I mean, even after your first $5,000 check, you didn't want to take all the risk. And now you're like, so what developed that over the last 8 years? It's not like you come from this big business background where your dad was like, you know, some big mogul and you're just, you know, writing off of the model that your family laid out for you, right?
I grew up with no father, right? I grew up with no father. For those of you that are growing up with fathers, you guys are very fortunate people.
Yeah.
Right. It's I didn't know. I'm a father myself, and I didn't know anything about fatherhood. My brother-in-law has taught me a couple things about fatherhood.
Sure.
You know what I mean,
You really just started learning how to be a father.
I just started learning how to be a father.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I'll say this, man. I think once you continue to prove in your own mind, you're like, you know, like, okay, I'll push the boundaries, and then you get there,
Mhm.
and then you push them, and then you get there,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I think you keep doing that. There's really no limits at that point. You know, there really. I said that I wanted to buy a jet by the end of 2023.
Yeah.
I think I want to buy a jet in the next 12 to 24 months.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's concentrated on buying cars and shiny whatever.
Mhm.
No, I want to buy a jet because for two reasons. One, it's a time machine. Two, it's a money machine.
Sure.
It's a money machine. You know what I'm saying? So
You're gonna start a plane business too?
huh?
On top of the other 31 businesses, he's gonna have a plane business.
By the way,
Don't give him like
by
this,
the way,
please.
by the way, hold on. By the way,
Yep.
I will say this. A lot of people don't know this, but if you buy a jet, you can charter it.
Yeah.
When you're not using it,
Right.
and actually make money.
Pace and Jamil are trying to get me on this thing. Yeah.
Talk to Steve Harward. Talk to Steve.
Yeah,
His jet is like the village bicycle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
right, like everybody, like Kiyosaki, Cody used it, Pace used it. I mean, it's like the village bicycle.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, I want to be able to give you guys, as tax purposes, absolutely. I want to be able to give you guys as much value as I can, because I
let's start
absolutely love
answering
our
some questions.
community.
We had a great question up there about being a real estate agent, making the transition. I don't know. Or just pop whatever on there, and we'll just Carlos, how would you invest $20,000 on marketing today?
It's
Carlos
yep,
there.
I got it. Carlos, what was his last name?
Balzan.
Mr. Carlos Balzan. Let me just say this, brother. I don't know. It's a little bit of a vague question because I don't know your specific skill set.
Sure.
But if you're asking me how would I invest $20,000 into marketing, I would probably go 10,000 pay per click. And by the way, what city are you doing business in? There's so many different factors, right? It's like, are you a good closer? Do you know your market well?
Do that Danielle one.
Let's see. Where is Carlos from?
Doesn't say.
Okay, well, brother, if you're a good closer, the number one marketing channel that's going to give you the quickest return is going to be Google AdWords. For every 10 to 12 leads that you get, you're going to churn a deal.
Yeah.
You're going to churn a deal. And the other thing that I want to highly encourage you, or I want to actually send you in that direction if you're a good closer, is because the time frame of when the lead is born to the contract, like it's the average time frame of that is 21 days, as opposed to something like cold calling that could take 2 months.
Days.
Yeah, 60 to 90 days. Yeah. So but again, you have to be good on the phone for you to do pay-per-click.
That's right.
If not, I always say this, the three major components that are going to determine the success of your campaign when it comes to pay-per-click is, one, you got to have a pretty good optimized website.
Yep.
You got to have a good optimized website, good conversion optimization where everything is set up, right? Let people know who you are, what you do, and how easy they can get access to your service, right? Good optimization, good load speed on the page, things like that. So the site has to be good, especially on the mobile side, right? 80% of users today are going through mobile, right? And then the other thing that you got to have is you got to have a good campaign manager.
Yeah.
You got to have a good, solid person that knows what they're doing. From what I hear, everybody in the country now is their own campaign managers, right? That's like what's going out there right now. Guess what? You're gonna suffer. You're gonna lose if you don't get with the right person that is an expert. Because I am no pay-per-click, at Google AdWords, campaign expert.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. The guy that I've been using since 2016, Dave, he definitely knows, and I trust him and I believe him because we've made millions of dollars from him.
Yep.
The first month that I invested $7,500 with Dave back in July of 2016, we netted $123,000 from just pay-per-click contracts.
Yeah, I would highly advise that you get somebody with a long track record and a lot of testimonials, and don't do this yourself.
There you go. So that's
Don't do
component
this
number
yourself.
2, right? Now we got website, we got a campaign manager, and number 3, like I said, You got to be good on the phone.
That's it.
Because guess what?
I want to talk to Adrian about it.
Yep, it's way more competitive. Why is it way more competitive? Because if he's running Google AdWords and I'm running Google AdWords and now I'm the one answering the phones and he's the one answering the phones, whoever does best at what? Building rapport, asking the tough questions, building that trust. If people like you, they trust you, they want to do business with you, that's who they're going to stick with. Now, if they don't like me and they don't like him, guess what? They're going to call the next company down the line. And that's why it's so important. It's the most competitive, but it's the highest churning, quickest churning marketing channel out there, pay-per-click.
How do you get good on the phone? I mean, you were driving trucks and then you're like the top closer. So how does that happen? So you know what I mean? Honestly,
he used to talk to a lot of lot lizards when he was driving trucks. Yeah,
it's a lot lizard.
It's a lot.
Script. You can get it at lot lizard.
Nobody knows what a lot lizard is. Nobody knows what a lot lizard. He doesn't know what a lot lizard. Look, nobody knows what a lot. Okay, look up lot lizard. Google lot lizard.
Do not look it up. Do not look it up. Go ahead.
So for me, it was just. I had a God-given talent of just being a likable person.
Yeah.
Right. I get that from my father. I grew up with my father.
Okay.
Right. So I
what
get that from my father.
Bro? Like you're better than me because you do. I grew up with my father. I'm just joking. Continue.
Glad you caught that.
Yeah, he did.
So I just love talking to people. Right. And this was before I even knew about you.
Yeah.
I just learned that talking to people, you kind of start to get things that you want at the end of the day. And so what worked best for me was not reading any books. It wasn't about watching any YouTube videos, reading any podcasts. It was simply getting around somebody that's already doing it and just shadowing them. I was stuck to Carlos's hip at all times. When it
was uncomfortable.
On. Sure.
It was uncomfortable.
I couldn't even go use the restroom.
I have videos of him taking a piss outside, right? And I'm waiting for him like, hey, we got to go, you know? But it was just having the conversations with people, noticing that every time he would have a conversation with somebody, that's all it was.
Yeah.
I didn't see any sales tactics in it.
Right.
Whenever he was talking to a seller, I didn't see any sales tactics. He was asking personal questions. He was trying to gain as much information as he could as possible. The reality of it, he was talking very little about the actual property in itself.
Right.
Right. And we always say it's like the 80-20 rule. Like you can talk about it's 80% rapport, 20% business for us. And so watching that, I was like, hey, he made it look so easy. So that gave me the confidence because I could have a conversation with him. And if he can have a conversation with them, then I can feel the same way.
Yeah. And
so just taking the swings at the end of the day too, you're never going to be perfect on the phone. Still to this day, I will still, miss a little bit of a question or misunderstand what a seller's saying. You'll never be perfect on the phone, but that's okay. You don't need to be perfect. Right. I remember the first time I locked up my first deal, the first time I made an offer on a property that was worth over $1 million. That was a little bit nerve-wracking for me as well. And then it gets to the point where I realized that the people that own $1 million properties and the people that own $100,000 properties still run into the same situations. So it's just a matter of having those conversations and removing that money factor out of it. So making the conversations, talking to people, right? Making the phone calls, and once again, gamifying it, having fun.
That's it.
Some of the biggest or the most joy I had was actually going to appointments and seeing these people's lives and like understanding what they're going through and how they got into the situations that they're in and how we could be beneficial to them.
Yeah.
Right. Ultimately, that's what it was. And that's what I started looking for is like, I didn't start looking for a check. I didn't start looking to see how I could make my next buck. It was like, I wanted to look for an individual that I can help out of a situation that they really had no idea they can get help from.
Yeah. Well, I love that you said the 80-20 on that, 80% building the relationship, because you'll find that when you're having a conversation with a property owner and they're trying to keep it all about the property and not about them and the situation, usually they want too much. They do. Yeah. Usually it's all about the price. It's all about how they get the absolute most out of it. They are not looking to trade potential equity in their house for speed and convenience. Yeah. They're not. They're the type that isn't going to turn their car into the dealership for the easy, like just take it. They're the ones that's going to wash it.
I will turn in my car.
Yeah, they're going to get it cleaned up. They're going to take it to the mechanic. They're going to get it all. They're going to put it on Craigslist. They're going to take multiple out. They're going to do the whole thing. But that's something that's really important, that as you're having those conversations with people that are leads where are they steering the conversation? Are they talking about themselves or are they talking about the property? Because if they're talking about the property, most of the time you should refer them to an agent.
And actually understanding too that just because a seller talks more than you doesn't mean they're in control of the conversation.
No.
And a lot of people have that misconception that they have to overspeak when they're talking to sellers. They have to be the one that's majority speaking. And there's very few people that I can actually get away with that and get deals where they just speak a majority of the time. But ultimately,
they have to be laid down.
You can
lay downs anyway.
You can overspeak yourself out of a deal.
Way more than you could.
Yeah, you can overspeak yourself out of a deal.
So,
right?
Danielle, real quick here, I just want to pull this up. And I think this is important. It just depends on what you're doing to go out there to find your leads. But typically, if you talk to, this is just stats around the country from coaching for a long time and personally talking to a lot of the people making the calls, 200 conversations. It's on the 200 conversations. Whoop, hold on. Where'd it go? Is it catching up? All right. 200 conversations of you having conversations with distressed property owners. These are people that own ugly houses. If this is your first 12 months, and you let me know your thoughts on this, if this is your first 12 months, your number one focus should be going after ugly houses and getting big checks. It's not fixing and flipping. It's not rental portfolio. It's not development. It is going after ugly houses and getting big checks, because once you understand that you can go out there and generate these opportunities, then you can start taking these ones off the board after you have that big, healthy, heavy bank account. All right. 200 conversations usually equals 20 leads. All right. 19 of those people are going to either want too much or sell to somebody else that leaves one deal. One deal, the average deal size is 15,000. So you talk to 200 people for one deal that closes at 200,000.
How many people here
at 15,000? Sorry.
Yeah. How many people here? Type in a 1 if you are a full-time real estate entrepreneur. Type in a 1, because I feel like one of the biggest obstacles for a lot of people that are dabbling in this business is exactly that. They're part-time. Well, right. Sure. And part-time effort equals what? Gives you part-time results, right? And the reason I say that, because I was doing a little bit of math here. I said, you know what, realistically, because I've been in this game long enough and I've seen enough to know that if you truly, fully commit yourself to this business. So we got a lot of real estate professionals. Let's go. I love it. Let's go, baby. All right. So you know what? Let me change the question, right? Because they're bombarding. How many of you are part-time and are dabbling with real estate? Type in a 3.
Just getting new. Yeah,
type in a 3.
Yeah.
Type in a 3 for that.
Or maybe you're just, this is the first time you're hearing about it and you're kind of, you found us and you're like, wow. I really like this idea of wholesaling. I really think that it will be incredible. Let's
3. So there's a couple. Look, keep them coming, by the way. Yep. So if you're, if you haven't got your first deal, if you're kind of dabbling, type in a 3. But I'll say this, and correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. If you go all in this business, okay. And by the way, we can't use the lack of information as an excuse anymore. No. Right?
No, there's ugly houses on every street. Just walk down the street. All you got to do is get a hold of that homeowner.
We can't use the lack of resources.
Nope.
Right? Oh, I don't have money. I don't have a license. Right? Whatever.
Right.
It ultimately comes down to you, to you. And I wrote this down because I wanted to be clear on this. If you commit and dedicate yourself 6 to 8 hours a day, 5 to 6 days per week, you will get your first deal in the first 60 days.
Yeah.
All right. Now, what does that look like? Man, I don't care if you're cold calling, because according to national metrics, and this is from me seeing into multiple companies across the country, from Florida up to New Jersey to Seattle down to LA, right? For every 55 cold calling leads, people are converting a contract. Okay. Now do the math here. If you dial 4 to 6 hours a day and you produce 2 to 4 leads per day, right? You might get there even in a month's time.
Yeah, I think you could get there in 20 hours of calls.
But what is the biggest challenge here? They won't do that. People will not do that.
Yeah. Dario's doing it. He's doing
Dario's
it right
is cold calling, baby. I'm cold calling right now.
He's got us on the sidelines.
I promise, guys. I promise. I'm not sitting here like telling you something that we haven't done ourselves. You will get your first deal in the first 30 to 60 days if you put in the time, the energy, and the efforts.
Love it.
There's no alternative.
No.
There's no alternative. That first deal is inevitable if you put in that work.
That's it.
Yeah. So
and you have to understand what a lead is. A lead is somebody that is going to sell this property. If you're out there trying to convince people to sell a property, it's not going to happen. It's just not, this isn't just a quick little transaction. It already has to be in their brain that they want to sign a piece of paper to transfer their title to somebody else on this property. That's a lead. And then from there, you just have to pre-qualify them based on the condition of the property, their timeline to sell, their motivation, and the price. You find out those 4 things, and you've got a well-qualified lead that you should go out there and see how you can help.
One other thing that I'll add to that is follow up with your leads.
Of course.
That's where a lot of people make the mistake. They think that just making that initial phone call is going to lead to that first deal.
Right.
You have to be planting seeds every conversation that you have with somebody.
That's right.
And then circle back around and see how those plants are doing every other day or every day, depending on how many leads you have.
Right? I didn't think about that.
Yeah, not every deal happens on the first phone call. No. And actually, it's probably like 10% of the deals that we do happen on the first phone call. The other 90 are from follow-ups. I followed up with a gentleman for an entire year. We bought our biggest flip in Berkeley, California. This house was worth $1.2 million at the time. Mm-hmm. I followed up with him for a year.
The property was going. By the way.
The property.
Guys, check out these numbers.
The property was going through probate. I had one of my acquisitions managers bring it to me, and he was like, I offered him $720 for the property. He said, but I can't get him to sign. Here, take over. And goes, and if you can get it under $700,000, I'll give you an extra % of my commission. Say less. Got on the phone with them. I made the guy an offer at $600,000.
Yeah.
Worth $1.2 million. I made him an offer at $600,000. He denied it, obviously, which I was which I was expecting. Yeah.
Which camera?
So I had a conversation with him, made him an offer at $680.
Can you get it?
Do the other camera.
This one?
Yeah.
So we made him an offer at $680,000. He accepted. We went through probate.
Mm-hmm.
We dropped like $300,000 into the property.
Yeah.
Listed it for 1.3, and I think we sold it for 1.5.
And made
what is that?
The net was $735 out of $783.
$735,000 net.
On one conversation.
Yeah, we got it.
Let's see if we can pull it up, guys. This man bagged this deal. This was December. This was about 4 or 5 months ago that we cleared this check. I think he's gonna pull it up for you, just so this can be motivation to you guys.
There it is.
Ready? Here we go.
Yep.
There it is.
783.
735 was net, guys. 735. One house, Berkeley, California.
And now think about that too, right? Because that area, Berkeley, California, is not known for, you wouldn't expect it to be distressed houses. This property was sitting vacant for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody had come across
There's
that property.
11 million vacant single-family houses that have been vacant for over a year, according to the 2020 census.
There you go.
11 million.
There's 11 million opportunities for you to make $100,000 every single day.
That's it.
Wow.
So this realtor is asking, I am an active listing agent looking to, thank you for your patience on this, looking to take on wholesaling. I already have leads and know how to talk to sellers. What should I do to grow rapidly?
I already have leads and know how to talk to sellers. Yeah. So let me, Shy the realtor, let me just say this. One of the biggest challenges that I've seen specifically with realtors is that they don't know how to transition their retail hat to their investor hat.
That's it.
They're wired and programmed, right, habitually to what? To look for a listing, to look for a listing, to look for a listing. So therefore, they really don't give it their all when it comes to trying to get an off-market discounted property. I believe that that's going to be your biggest challenge in your business, for you to completely. It's like telling this guy not to go to the gym. You know what I mean? Like he's used to go. He's not going to happen. This guy's used to going to the gym. Well, now I want him to, hey, brother, I don't need you to go to the gym anymore. I need you to go and take a bicycling
Go
class.
Do yoga.
Go do some yoga, and what are those the new. My wife wears those pants.
The Lululemon.
Lululemon. Wear the Lululemon stretchers and do some yoga. You see, so that's gonna be one I would too. That's gonna be one of your biggest obstacles, Shy the Realtor. I hope that helps you.
Yeah, you got to go in, and by the way, go after ugly houses. Seriously, guys, it's not difficult. There are so many different reasons to go after ugly houses, but the biggest one is they can't sell it for conventional financing. A bank typically is not going to lend on it, so they have to either put a bunch of money into it or sell it to a cash buyer. That's where we step in. So Shy Realtor, go out there and find those distressed properties and have a quality conversation with them and steer it towards you are the buyer. You're going in as the buyer. And I think everybody kind of gets this confused that the market doesn't determine the price of a house. The seller doesn't determine the price of the house. A real estate agent doesn't. An appraiser doesn't. The city doesn't. Only a ready, willing, and able buyer determines the price of anything. People talk about inflation. You're still paying it. People talking about things are going up in price. We're still paying it, right? Ready, willing, and able buyers. If nobody wants to pay what a seller wants, they're going to have to come down. Okay? If they find somebody else, they can find somebody else.
Boom, baby.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. What other questions do we have?
How do you deal with a seller that is working with their attorney and they want to use their contract, which does not have a clause to assign it?
Adrian, you can manage that one.
There's a couple different ways. One, obviously, if the attorney doesn't want it to sign, there's obviously one big reason. It's chances are that seller's already gone through this situation. They've had somebody sign them up and then cancel on them. Yep. So now they have that impression that anybody that's coming with a cash offer is only coming to wholesale the deal, right? So, reverse engineer it. Go find your buyer, have the buyer fund the entire property and just cut you like a commission check or cut you a fee out of that instead of actually having sign them and allow them to get direct to the seller. And then for those people that are just talking to attorneys or that are scared of talking to attorneys, understand that not every attorney is made not every attorney is a real estate attorney. Right. So people use the word attorney to kind of scare people off. Yeah. I've done deals where they said, "Oh, I want my attorney to look at it." I said, "Fantastic. What's the attorney's information?" I can call him right now. We can get on the phone and I can tell him exactly what we plan on doing. And then they said, "Oh, no, he just wants to look at the contract. He's not a real estate attorney. He just wants to make sure that the verbiage is okay." I said, "Okay, well, still, what's his email? I'll send the contract over." So don't allow that attorney. It's just an objection. It's uncertainty at the end of the day.
That's right.
Yeah. Plus, let me just say this too. If you're a wholesaler, practice good ethics, right? Practice good ethics. If you have nothing to fear, and you really are planning on going through with this, and I'm sure, listen, if it's a good deal, you're not going to have a problem either getting rid of this property or taking it down with a partner or somewhere. There is way more money out there than there are deals right now in the marketplace. So if you know that your numbers are what they need to be, and just again, just to get a second opinion, hit up somebody like TTP, hit up Jamil, hit up Pace, let them triple and quadruple run the numbers for you. I'll tell you this, if I run an ARV on it, and this guy runs an ARV in it, and Pace runs an ARV, and Jamil runs an ARV in it, and we all say like, man, this is a hell of a deal, I'm not going to be concerned about having no attorney look at it. Right. I want this deal to go through no matter what.
I've had their attorneys write it up. Yeah. Because here's the difference. If you can actually close on it with funds, either from a partner or yourself, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Close on it and sell it. It doesn't. You could close on it. You could double close on it. You could double escrow it. You could probably assign the contract even unless it says that you can't assign it. It just depends. Let the attorney put it together. If it's a smoking deal, there should be nothing stopping you from getting that done, because you bring it to anybody that knows values and it's a smoking
deal. There's 500 people here that would take this deal, right? And guess what?
That's it.
I'll tell you, like one of my mentors told me, he's like, you don't have a money problem, you have a creativity problem. Get creative. Yep. Are you going to allow the uncertainty and the fear and the lack of creativity and the lack of effort to keep you from making $20, $30, $40, $50,000? Then this game is not for you.
Yep. Nathan, here we go. Drop that bell. Just locked up a condo to wholesale and assigned it within 24 hours. Ding, ding, ding. There you go. Woo! I used to have to go all the way back there, Carlos, to get the bell. Now it just comes to us.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Give a hand to the assistant.
I know. Matt's crushing it today. There you go.
Awesome. White ain't got nothing.
Congratulations, Nathan. Would love to know what you made on it, brother.
This is like the Howard Stern vibe, huh?
Yeah.
I love it.
This is like the Howard Stern vibe. I kind of like this.
So, yeah, guys. And also, as you're going out there and as you're taking action, you need to find people in your area. You need to get face to face, knee to knee, belly to belly. I love everybody squatting up into the comments here, but getting out there, and especially if you need some help comping a property or going on the appointments for the first time, and that somebody's a real closer and they can really help you out, just share the deal with them. Seriously, share the first couple deals, get into the flow of it. The first 3 deals I did, I gave up $92,000 worth of assignment fees.
Wow.
Yeah. Sold it and got a real estate commission on the first 3 of 3%, and they went and sold it for $92,000 on top of it. But I learned what wholesaling was then. I learned what the process was. It is
expensive lesson.
It is, but I mean, not compared to how much I've made.
Exactly.
Sure. I mean, it's a drop in the bucket compared to how much I've made in wholesaling.
Absolutely.
So,
Rios, is it foolish of me to start a marketing company in my real estate investment company so I can market myself and others, plus target my markets? Because that is what I'm doing, man. I only have 90 days. Hey, listen, brother, I just want to say this. When you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. I don't know where you are in your journey, but the fact of the matter is you probably need to go all in on your real estate investment company, because the way I see it is this, right? What is the potential market cap to your marketing company? Which means, what is the most amount of money that you can make with that marketing company? And then you take a look at the other side. What is the most amount of money that you can make with your real estate investment company? I can't speak for the marketing side because I don't own a marketing company, or do I? I do, Magnus. But I'll say this. My real estate operation has way more of a higher market cap, especially when you start adding different asset classes into the real estate operation. I would fully go into my real estate operation first and foremost until you get that systemized, automated, and delegated. Only then will I even begin to think about starting another venture. And guess what? If I'm going to start another venture, it better make me as much or more than my real estate operation. So, we've made that mistake so many times. I probably own over 10 to 15 multiple 6-figure, ventures. When I say I have 31 companies, I really mean 31 companies are giving me a profit. But guess what? Only 7 of them are multiple 7 figures. Right. So what are we doing with those other mom and pop shops, multiple 6-figure companies? We're looking to actually exit out of those companies internally or externally. Focus. Because guess what? Exactly what he just said. I need to be hyper focused on what's in front of me right now. Everything else doesn't even matter. And that's the way that you gradually begin to grow as a businessman, right? You begin to base everything off this one principle, which is your return on time, right? My return on time. Okay, if I start a bottle company, what's the market cap there? What's the most amount of money that I can make? Well, you can probably make $5 million in a year. That's what the top dogs are doing, right? And then I say, well, if I start a real estate operation and then my market cap is limitless, I'm probably gonna want to go with the real estate operation. So that's my advice to you, brother.
Well, and we were talking about Alex Rosie, and he had a really great YouTube video that I watched. And he said, "Time is not the most valuable resource. Attention is the most valuable resource. Wow. What are you putting your attention on with the time that you have?
Boom.
And if you're just starting out in this business, if you put your attention to finding ugly houses and getting big checks, that's what you're going to get." And
Absolutely.
Listen, you've got a long runway of being able to start other businesses once you have established this business and pulled yourself out of the day-to-day and can go after and look at other businesses to be able to do it. I assume that that's what you did after you were putting out bandit signs and you were doing all these things and you're working your corporate job and you're trying to transition into this business full-time. Could you imagine if you had 31 companies at that point? Yeah. And little kids and a wife?
And guess what?
Come on.
Even now we're looking to reduce. You know, we're looking to be minimalist. You know, we're looking to truly be minimalist for what? So we can hyper focus on what we're trying to accomplish. Doritos. You want me to read that one?
Yeah, you got it.
What would you recommend a wholesaler do when they can't get a hold of the owner of a vacant property? I've tried door knocking, cold calling, only dead ends. Have you tried the family members? Right? Have you tried anybody that's in proximity, right? That is, I don't know, what do you call it? Degrees of separation, right? Have you tried anybody that's degrees of separation from that seller or within that seller's proximity, right? I mean, no, again, if the guy's alive, you should be able to reach this person somehow, some way. Yeah. All right. You have to be, again, everything is public record. That's what I was going to say. Everything is public record. You know what, Mr. Adrian, go ahead and chime in. I'm sure the guy has a social media somewhere, but go ahead.
That's what I was going to say. And we've even to the day, if I could find them, or if I can't find them, anytime I'm talking to a seller, there's no rules in this game that state that you can't find them on social media and kind of get an idea of the type of person that you're talking to, right? And then also bring up some of the things. You see that they have a dog, nonchalantly just mention pets in there and start talking to the seller. But reaching out to sellers through social media, you know, door knocking, we've done it all. Yeah, we've done it all. We've hired private investigators.
That's what I was going to say.
We've hired private investigators in some cases too, to try to find these individuals for us. They get paid to do that stuff. And if I'm paying a private investigator $1,000 to find a person to sell me a house that I can make $100,000 on, I mean, you tell me if that's a good investment.
It's worth it. I would also look at anybody that is on like a virtual assistant that has access to a full-blown TLO account. All right, because they will pull up the info for everybody. Not only that, I tried out this TLO. They did this TLO full-blown account. They showed me the 10 places where I park my car the most. They showed me everything. Wow. They'll know exactly where anybody's at all times.
That's the name of the game these days, is data, man.
It's data. Yeah. Yep. It's like I'm riding a bike everywhere. There we go. Yeah.
Well,
they'll find you.
Oh.
Adolfo, brother. So we... believe it or not, you know, praise God, this is a blessing, but we're GA is no longer. We have 10 VIP seats. DM me and I'll get you a good deal. I won't have you pay the full price. But I'll say, you know, praise God, I can sit here and say general admission is sold out. We have 1,200 seats that are gone. We are no longer taking general admission. So the only thing, what did you shake your head?
Yeah, because I saw that and I felt sorry for the guy because
okay,
our GA sold out.
Yeah, we're sold out, my brother.
What about virtual?
We might open up virtual. We don't know yet. Honestly, we don't know yet. We might. You know, virtual is a whole different animal.
Pace and Jamil are still giving out a couple seats too.
Well, we accounted for those already.
Yeah.
Oh, Pace and Jamil do have some seats, some GA seats to give out. I don't know if you're part of their community, but yeah, we're pretty much sold out, brother. Thank you for asking.
What would your first hire be? Somebody, Matt Justice up there has it.
It's very simple. Very, very simple. Whatever is occupying your time the most. In my case, it was acquisitions.
Yeah.
And in many cases, it's acquisitions. That normally is everybody's first hire. And why? Because there's multiple reasons for that. One, right? The rule of the game is you never stop getting deals. Yeah. Right? You want to grow out every other department. You want to be able to dump more money into marketing and systems. You never stop getting deals. That's rule number one. So if replacing yourself on the acquisition side is what needs to happen to open up 80 to 100% of your time, where you can now start working on the business instead of the day-to-day in the business tasks, that should be your first hire.
Love it.
Yep.
Yeah. Carlos, any tips for penetrating the Spanish market in your experience? I'm in Los Angeles market.
Get around, you know, get around the community, you know, a lot of, you know, Hispanics, Latinos, in particular, right? We're not really digital people. Like we're more like personable people. Like, okay, do I trust you? Yeah. You know, cause we think a lot of Hispanic people, they think everybody's out to get them, you know, and I understand why, because a lot of people do take advantage of the lack of education, you know? So, and I've seen that happen many, many times, and it's a very sad pattern to see, but get around them, brother, get around them and get around people they trust. But, you know, I hope that you obviously are a good, ethical person. If you are, you'll have no problems getting into business with them.
there's a couple questions about TLO. It is the TransUnion. So there's 3 credit reporting agencies. TransUnion's one of them. Basically, the credit card companies know everything about you and where you're at and what you're doing. So some people have those accounts. A lot of attorneys buy these accounts. You have to go through a long process to get qualified for it. And a lot of attorneys give it to their VAs to do research for them for cases. And you could also get it with a private investigator.
Yeah.
Yep.
B Sewell 513. My cold callers dial from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. That is the specific time to make cold calls.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Especially if you haven't got a deal.
If the sun's up, it's pretty much fair game. Some people go earlier just because it fits into their schedule. But for the most part, people are a little bit more, will bring you a little bit more energy if the sun's up than if it's down. But the real answer is whenever you can be consistent. Whenever you can be consistent is the best time for calling, because if you've got other responsibilities and you just found this, you've got to be able to handle your responsibilities and, fund this opportunity and fund it with your attention, fund it with your efforts, fund it with your skills.
Boom.
Yep.
Boom, baby.
Real
coach
estate
advice.
coach.
I'm trying to make content. I'm trying to post something every day, but I either forget or couldn't think of something for that day. Content's a whole different, like you got to treat content like you would a business. And if you're not ready, Matthew, for one reason or another, to truly dedicate, because it's one of those things where it's just like any other business. If you build momentum, you got to keep that momentum going, and to truly, do that with content in particular, you got to make sure that your operation, your actual business is doing what it needs to be doing as far as, automation, systemization, and delegation, or else you're going to be, again, half in, half out, lukewarm, right? Dabbling, and you're never going to truly build momentum that way. So what I would also create is reach out to Ryan Pineda. He has multiple courses on content creation, scheduling, etc. I think that would be a really good start for you.
Yeah, turn it around. Just turn the phone around and document what you're doing. I'm driving for dollars. Look at this house. There's 15 cats outside. You know what I mean? Like I'm comping my first property. I don't know what I'm doing, but hopefully I do this right. Like document that to get business in. That's how you start warming it up. It's another lead generation for you. Now, if you're talking about full blown, like being a YouTuber and doing podcasts and doing all those things, stay focused. Stay focused early on. If you're just getting the ball rolling, stay focused early on and get into that at some point.
I've seen people take their focus away from their real estate operation and start building content, and then boom, their real estate operation just goes to the ground.
Yep.
So
but documenting your day so that your family and friends and people that follow you know what's going on, and saying, guys, if you have any deals, Templeton Walker's been doing this for forever. If you got any deals, send it to me. Send me your deals. Send me your deals.
I'm sure it makes them multiple 6 figures every year. Yeah, exactly.
I made that mistake early on by not telling people what I did.
Yes.
And I had one of my closest friends sell his house to We Buy Ugly Houses when I was in the house. And I was like,
that's the one thing.
When that happened, I was like,
heartbroken.
Okay,
yeah.
That's the one thing I would say is people have to know who you are and what you do.
Yep.
That alone will equate to something positive.
Yep. Best recommended schedule for that 4 to 6 hours. I do SMS marketing and run it solo. It's pretty overwhelming. I just dialed back many texts I was sending. I've done deals, but need another for VA.
So let me just say this specifically for SMS, because in my opinion, SMS is, you get a high return, but it's so time consuming.
Yep.
And you're now using your time to fulfill a $3 to $5 an hour job, right? I would probably, not that I would, if I was in your shoes, I would hire a virtual assistant to filter through and through with all of those SMSs, right? And only upload into your CRM what is a warm, doable, closable deal, right? You want to put those filtering systems in place, or you're going to be talking to a bunch of people that you don't need to be talking to.
Yep.
And you're just going to be frustrated from going around and round and round and round, not getting a result. So make sure that you get some virtual assistants to do the heavy lifting for you. Your time is much more valuable.
and get them on the phone. If they're a lead, get them on the phone right now and see if they're a real lead. See if it's just somebody messing with you. See if it's somebody that's ready to go. Shorten that timeline. Time kills all deals in this business. And if you can shorten that timeline, it's really, you're going to jump on that way before they start, getting texts from other people or calls from me or, others that, clicking on some websites or whatever else. So get in front of them as fast as possible. Isaiah, for you, Carlos.
Carlos, how's your wholesale business structure? I remember you saying that you had virtual acquisitions. Yes. So as of September of 2021, we completely shifted to the virtual acquisitions model.
Really?
Oh, brother, we have one sales manager now.
Yeah.
And he oversees 10 virtual acquisitions manager, 12 virtual. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have the man who actually started that for us.
Yeah.
Go ahead and talk about that structure and what we do every single day. I'll tell you this much: they're getting a deal every other day, and the goal this month is to get 30 deals. And I'm going to tell you this:
markets?
3 fix and flip markets, 14 wholesale markets. So yeah, total about 14 to 17. Okay, but let me just say this: it's very difficult in the beginning. It is. You know what? Why don't you talk about it? That's your thing. You built it, so he built it. Yeah, he built it.
Yeah. So, like you said, it is very difficult in the beginning. You do have the biggest thing is going to be the cultural difference, right? When you're working with VAs, there's always that cultural difference. You can't expect them to know, in some cases, even what an air conditioner is, right? So you have to understand, like, 11 of our agents are out of Egypt, one's out of Mexico. The 11 agents that live in Egypt all live on top of each other, like in the housing out there is different. So that's going to be the biggest thing. Second is a constant line of communication. We use Google Chat. We used Microsoft. We used WhatsApp. We've used what's the other one? Slack. We've used Slack. Google Chat Trello. For us. Google Chat has been the best one for us, but it's to everybody's liking. We have a meeting every single day, Monday through Saturday, 9 o'clock in the morning. There is a meeting, and it's to go over any deals that are in the pipeline. It's to go over any accomplishments, celebrate any accomplishments. It's for training purposes. It's for constant communication. And then we leave that line of communication open so that we can go throughout the entire day without anybody missing a beat. So that's going to be the most difficult thing is, at first, it feels like a lot of babysitting, but it's worth it. Because one thing that we do not have to teach these individuals, these virtual acquisitions now that we have, we don't have to teach them work ethic. They already have the work ethic.
10, 12 hours without.
So now that we've eliminated the fact that we don't need to teach them work ethic, because work ethic can't be taught. Right? We eliminated that. So they already know that they have to make a lot of phone calls. Now we just have to give them the concept, right? The skill set, the concept, and the information that they're going to need. So our agents take the lead from cold caller all the way to contract signed, running their own comparables, going over the agreement with the seller, right? That's what our agents do on a daily basis.
They cold call for you?
No, so they started off as cold callers. They moved to lead managers, and then they got promoted to acquisition managers. So they get the lead from the cold callers, and they take it all the way to the end. So the biggest thing, if you are looking to go virtual, is going to be that constant communication, and then that cultural change or the difference in cultures between wherever your VAs to wherever your market is right now.
How do you have enough lead generation for 12 acquisition?
We have 25 cold callers. We have a national pay-per-click campaign. We do direct mail
everywhere.
No, the 14 states.
Got it.
We do direct mail Q2, Q3. We have over 55,000 leads in our system now.
Yep.
So we don't have
going back through your old leads.
Absolutely.
Years ago?
Always.
That's a great list.
So we've actually learned that lesson. Sal taught us that lesson. We had a pile of delete leads that one of our acquisitions managers happened to be in at one time. Pulled a $60,000 deal out of them. Ever since then, we stopped deleting leads.
Right.
And then life happens, right? Life happens. So those individuals that you spoke to, pre-COVID, if you were getting in contact with them the first year of COVID, chances are there's a possibility they lost their job. Things have changed. So you want to make that phone call.
It's unlike anything else. Once you shift your entire business model to this, you're never going back. And why? Let me just say why. See, a lot of people are still doing what people have been doing for years in this business.
Yeah.
That the old school mindset, the world has changed, business has changed, specifically the marketplace has changed, right? We got sick and tired of being sick and tired with, entitlement from in-house people.
Yeah.
Long bathroom breaks, long lunches, complaining about how they're not making enough money, but yet they're not even making 50 dials. Right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we just got tired of that.
Yeah.
We have zero issues with that now.
Yeah.
Zero. People showing up late, taking days off, asking like all kinds of issues, challenges that, are presented to you when you're running a company.
What are your biggest markets? They're asking the 14.
Our biggest markets are Nevada, California, Arizona, and Georgia.
Got it.
Boom.
And you're doing, and why them? Yeah, that's a good question from Alan. What did you find there? Is it price point?
Initially when we were doing the whole hedge fund thing, that was one of the biggest drivers.
Yeah.
That was a big driver for us.
Talk to him about the hedge fund.
We never really got it going. Like we flipped a couple deals to the hedge funds. A lot of people have done amazing things with these hedge funds.
Yeah.
They've made millions of dollars, but I'll tell you what, it was a blessing in disguise that we never shifted to the hedge fund model because the hedge funds went cold during Q4 of last year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then these people that were doing these great things all of a sudden have to completely restructure their company and completely restructure the way that they trained their acquisition managers because they were training their acquisition managers to be transactional.
Sure.
Green light at 300, go lock it up at 250. Boop.
Yeah.
Puzzle, the pieces of the puzzle fit. We trained. This is why it was very difficult initially when we started training our virtual acquisition managers. We trained them the way that we were trained in this business.
Yeah.
Talk to people, build rapport, get them to trust you, get an off-market discounted property.
Love it.
That was the right thing to do on the foundation aspect.
And do you just have a big buyers database in each of those?
We
markets?
use Investor Lift.
Yeah.
Yep. Shout out to Investor Lift, baby.
Yes,
if you need a discount code, DM me. I got you.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
I love Investor Lift.
Yeah,
I do. There's over 3 million buyers there. Whenever we can't sell something here, we definitely sell it there. So it's not a problem.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. One more and then we'll wrap this up.
This was juicy.
That was nice, huh? Thank you for being here.
Man, we might have to do this again, bro.
This is again, great, right?
We might have to
get you in here.
Type in a 1 if I should come back here in the next 30 to 60 days.
That's right.
Type in a 1 if you need me back here in the next 30 to 60 day, guys.
And Adrian,
we're literally 2 miles from here, so I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it. We'll end on that.
Yeah, all right.
We will end on that, guys. We will be back with Rylas Dana next week talking about probates with Pace and Jamil, and we are so thankful that Carlos and Adrian could come on here and really give us 90 minutes of wisdom, energy, enthusiasm, and instruction. So, guys, we love you. We will see you if you did not get your question answered for any reason, join me Wednesday on the live show on the Brent Daniels YouTube channel, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We go for 2 solid hours. And if you've ever been on there, we go through a lot of questions. So I'd love to see you on there and participate. Tell Wednesday. Love you guys. See ya.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing?
I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool. I think we should use the one where Jamil doesn't say anything.